When I was planning out my van build, figuring out the electrical system was definitely the most overwhelming part. How much power did I really need? Was I going to run out once I was on the road? And did I need to upgrade to a 10 kilowatt EcoFlow system? Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Kristi, and this is my dog Sammy, and we're traveling in this converted Sprinter van. Today, I'm going to walk you through my van life electrical system, how it works day to day, how it recharges, and what you might actually need on the road so that you don't overbuild or underbuild, and you can try to make the best decision for your own lifestyle and your own van build. In my prior van build, I had 2 AGM batteries located underneath the van. I think those were 125 amp hours each, and 220 watts of solar power on the roof. And I knew from that experience that that definitely wasn't going to be enough for my new van build. When I worked with my van builder, I decided to go with a 6 kilowatt hour EcoFlow system for the van, knowing that it was upgradable and expandable should I need to do that in the future, all the way up to a 14 kilowatt hour system. That allowed me to keep the initial build within my budget, but also know that the system was expandable and really the van could grow with my needs in the future. And that was a really important consideration when building my van. I also carry a backup battery with me that's 2 kilowatt hours, and the company is called Opus. Now that I store underneath my bed in the back of the van, and that gives me extra peace of mind. So if I'm going to be stationary for quite a few days, then I can use that to power my Starlink or charge my electronics. We're under the bed now, and I'm going to show you how the EcoFlow system is set up in the bed cabinet under the bed. Sammy might be joining us, we'll see. So let me go ahead and turn the camera around. Hi, buddy. Okay, this is the EcoFlow Power Hub here, and this is where the batteries are plugged into the power hub as well as the AC input. So with my 6 kilowatt hour system, I have 3 2 kilowatt hour lithium batteries, and those batteries are plugged in right here. Okay, down below the power hub is the EcoFlow Smart Distribution Panel. Now, if I open this up here, you'll see here, this is sort of like a house fuse box. On the left-hand side, you'll see all of the breakers for the AC power. So these are going to be things like the plugs, upper cabinetry plugs, and then on the right-hand side, this is all of the DC power. So my garage lights, my reading lights, 12 volt plugs, water pumps, the fridge, the vent fan, and the diesel heater. All of these things are labeled. If I ever need to change out a fuse, I can. And there's a couple of open slots here if I wanted to use it for anything else. So everything on the DC side is hardwired into the van and controlled through the EcoFlow touchscreen panel, which I'll show you in a minute. And then all of the items on the AC are powered through the inverter, and I'll show you how that works as well. You'll see here on the left-hand side, I do have 2 110 outlets as well as a 12 volt plug here. So I use this to charge my laptop when I'm working from this bench seat quite a bit. Now we're going to look at the EcoFlow touchscreen monitor, which is located right by my bed. This allows me to monitor the power inputs and outputs and my battery levels so that I can always see where my levels are and make sure that I have enough power to get through the day, the week, whatever the situation might be. If we take a look at the EcoFlow touchscreen monitor here, we can see I have 51% battery power left currently in the van. And at my current input and output, that leaves me with 1 day total of capacity left in the system. Now in the middle, we will see all of the current inputs that are coming into the van. That's going to include solar on the roof, which is currently bringing in 6 watts, It's snowing where I'm at. It's very cold and overcast. So obviously the solar panels are not bringing in much power to the system. If I was driving, we would see power coming in through the alternator charging. And if I was connected through shore power, we would see inputs coming in through there as well. Now on the right-hand side is where it's going to show the output, or what systems in the van are currently drawing power from the EcoFlow batteries. We can dig into the output a little bit further and we can see both AC and DC. On the left-hand side here, we have AC currently toggled on. So this is going to be the inverter in the van and all of the things that can be plugged in and used with that inverter capability. So I have various outlets. I have a power strip in my kitchen countertop. And you can see right now that kitchen countertop power strip is currently pulling 18 watts. I do have my Starlink Mini currently plugged in, and that cycles between, that 18 watts and about 25 watts. The other thing that runs off of AC power is my hot water heater. That plugs into an outlet underneath the sink. Let's toggle over to the DC power. These are all of the items in the van that are hardwired into the system. And the DC power is typically left on all of the time because that is really running your van's core systems. So in here we can see things like my garage light, the reading lights above my bed. I have some 12-volt plugs, the water pump, the fridge, the switch panel. And the switch panel here is really for my overhead and under cabinet lighting. Those are currently pulling about 32 watts from the system. If the fridge compressor was cycled on, that would be pulling around 45 watts of power. So this is going to give you a real-time calculation of what's currently being used in the van. And as I do make updates, let's say by turning off the lights here for a moment, we'll see that now the switch panel is showing 0 watts. And that's going to recalculate how much available time I have on the system as it recomputes. Let's talk now about the ways that I can recharge the batteries in my van with some real numbers. Now the first way is through shore power. I have a 30 amp plug on the side of my van with an adapter that allows me to plug in to any 110 outlet. Using that method allows me to recharge my batteries in about 4 hours. The second method is through alternator charging, and so the van will recharge the batteries while I'm driving. That brings in about 850 watts per hour, so using that method is going to take about 7 hours to fully recharge the battery system. And then lastly is solar on the roof. The solar panels on my roof are 400 watts. Using that method would take 15 hours to fully recharge the system. Now, of course, that is assuming that the solar panels are fully optimized in full sun and you're also not drawing down power at the same time. So you'll need to factor in and keep those things in mind. But just rough numbers, that's what you're looking at when you think about recharging the van batteries. Now let's walk through a real world example of something that we all do every day, which is cook. I've pulled out my air fryer here, but this could be an induction stove, a tea kettle, or any other appliance that you might have. So we've got the air fryer running. Let's go ahead and take a look at the EcoFlow panel. So we're going to see how the output on the EcoFlow touchscreen recalculates based on that high power output. So I've got about 1.4 kilowatts of power currently being pulled out of the system, and a big part of that is from my power strip on the kitchen countertop. That's where my air fryer is plugged in. We can see now that running this continuously, my battery would only last for 2 hours and 12 minutes. Now, obviously you're not going to run an air fryer for 2 hours, but it gives you a sense for the actual power draw of the various appliances, electronics, and systems in your van to help you understand how that's going to affect your overall van battery and how quickly that's going to draw down. If I go ahead and turn off the air fryer now, we're going to see how slowly the output then starts to recalculate. It's pulling back down to about 89 watts. And my available time now is going to start to recalculate back up. So when you think about how much power you might need in your van, it's good to think about all of the appliances or other items and accessories that you might have that are going to draw power. So things like the fridge, lights, laptops or accessories, Starlink, maybe a hot water heater or appliances. Trying to calculate the power use, and then that will give you an idea of how much power you might need in your van. So right now, a few of the things in my van, and I'll just give you an idea of where these run. The water pump will use about 80 watts. The water heater, 1500. Reading lights, 10. The fridge is about 45. An induction burner, 1800. And a Starlink Mini, about 45 watts. Now again, keep in mind that these things are going to cycle. They're not going to run continuously, which makes this, not really a perfect science. I have been stationary for several days and in, I would say, not ideal weather. It's been snowing, raining, really windy and overcast. So I haven't had much solar coming into my van. After 3 days, I was down to about 17%, working using Starlink, every day. And I purposely didn't use my backup battery because I wanted to test the system for this video and give you all a sense for, what it's like real world if you were just using the 6 kilowatt system that came with the van. I have some strategies for, what I can do if I am low after 3 or 4 days to recharge, and see if I can use that before needing to upgrade, because it is a pretty significant cost. So in an ideal world, of course, it would be great if you could max out your electrical system and get the biggest amount of power possible, but budgets don't always allow for that. So trying to figure out a middle ground that will give you enough power for your needs, your lifestyle, how you travel, whether you live in a van full-time, part-time, all of those factors, will really help you figure out how much battery system you really need. Right now, I feel like the 6 kilowatt system is a good middle ground for me. It allows me to get through most of my needs. I can get through multiple days off grid, and I have my backup battery just in case I need that as well. Will I upgrade to more power in the future? Maybe. We'll wait till the summer and see how the air conditioning handles with the electrical system. Hope this has helped simplify van life electrical systems, but if you have more questions, put those in the comments below. Thanks so much for everyone who has liked or subscribed to the channel. Really appreciate you joining us on our adventures, and see you next time.